whether you're doing 0K to, 100K, profit is king, right? Because we've got on calls with gyms that are doing 35K and we're like, okay, it sounds like it may be a good fit. And then we figure out their expenses are 34.5, right? Like, like you have to sort of step back and now figure out, okay, what, if anything, do I need to cut to turn this into a profitable business, right? Because I think people are always caught up in numbers. Oh, I want to hit 150 members or 200, 250, 30K, 50K, but the profit matters, right? Because regardless of how big you grow your business, if you don't have profit, it means nothing, right? That's not a lot you can do. You can't help a lot of people with no profit. Like, you just can't.
This is the Reinforce Your Gym podcast with your host, Dustin Vogel. This show is about arming gym owners with the tools, strategies, and lessons they need to take their business to the next level. That way, they can make a greater impact in their community. Now, let's get to work and reinforce your gym.
All right, welcome gym owners to another episode of the Reinforce Your Gym podcast. Got a peer and somebody I'm excited to learn from and have him share his story and expertise with you guys. That is Sherman with LASSO Marketing. So Sherman, because I love just the acronym, for those that don't know what LASSO is, what does it stand for? I'm in Texas, so I'm like, why didn't I think of that? What does the acronym LASSO stand for?
Yeah, so it's LASSO. Right? So it stands for Lead and Sales System Optimization. So that's where LASSO come from. But we couldn't go around saying that, so we had to come up with something cool. So actually, one of our mentors helped us come up with that. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I dig it, man. I think it's clever. It makes you stand out, and excited to talk with you. Now, for people who don't maybe know like all the agencies that exist, I asked Sherman to come on here, and he's got a business partner, Blake. Somebody might ask, why would two agency owners want to get on a podcast with each other? Well, I'm very abundant minded. I think there's plenty of gyms. I couldn't service them all. If every gym in America called me, it would break our systems. We wouldn't be able to them, and we would just have a lot of unhappy people. So it's like there's plenty to go around. I don't see anybody's competition. But I've been following these guys and I've been really impressed with how they do things. And so I just wanted to just like have him come on board and share his expertise. So Sherman, for those that aren't aware of you and your background, because one thing that I think is cool is you're a gym owner servicing gym owners. If you could explain how you got into fitness and then how you got into this marketing agency that you guys run.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm actually I got out of my gym about a year ago, right? I got into fitness. I grew up playing sports and all of that stuff. And in college, I started training people, sort of just on the side. And then once I got out of college, I went to college, grad school. I started working in an office, and I figured out real quickly, that wasn't my type of lifestyle. So one of my buddies was like, well, you can train people. But I was like, I don't know about that. I didn't want to be a personal trainer at a big global gym. I knew that. And he was like, well, you can train people doing this CrossFit stuff that we do, because we just had started doing CrossFit. And I was like, I don't know. Let me sort of figure it out. And this was probably back in, I'm trying to think, 2009 or so. So CrossFit was still, new definitely wasn't mainstream. So I started training some people around town. And they were getting results, and my name just sort of started growing. So I was like, I bet you I can, open up a gym. And fast forward, I opened up the gym in my garage. We grew out of that. And then I ended up going on to, open up a big 5,000 square foot facility where I had it. I was a gym owner for about 13 years, and it was great from start to finish. It was great. And then I got into marketing because people started asking me for help, because they were like, how are you growing your gym? And it's one of those things where I was just like helping people for free and stuff like that. And I was like, I should start charging people. So I started charging people, and that's when I met my business partner, Blake. And we met in San Francisco at a conference. And I remember I didn't like being tied down with the back end, all of the stuff that had to be done. But my business partner, he loved it. So I actually asked him to start running my ads for free. And he started doing it on the back end. And I was like, you know what? I bet there are other gym owners that would pay for this. I was sort of like the sales guy. He was sort of like the marketing guy. And I loved him doing my ads so much because it was basically just hands off. He would create it. We would talk, maybe once a week. He would just sort of tell me what's going on, high level. I was like, I don't need to know, just leads are coming in. I'll sell them. You get in front of me. And I went to him. We always talk about this. I wish that we had the napkin that we had wrote this business plan down on, 6 years or so ago. Because we just wrote some stuff down. And I like to say the rest is sort of history. We just jumped into it. And from the beginning, since we both, like Blake had 2 gyms in Indianapolis for about 10 years. I had my one here in Florida for about 13. And since we already had a name in the space, immediately from the beginning, we had people that knew us, that liked us, that trusted us. So we had clients from day one. And honestly, it just started growing and growing, and it sort of never stopped, right? And we're like 5 years in now. So
congrats.
pretty cool story. Yeah.
And that's a sign of a good, solid, well-ran business. Is customers stick and they refer, and it just starts to become this black hole of growth. And so let's start getting some tactical tips for these guys, the gym owners listening. You guys have worked with a lot of gyms, mainly focusing on micro gyms, could be CrossFits, boutique fitness that are like independent brands or even franchises. So what are the 3 common mistakes you'd call out that you see on ads when people are doing them themselves, or, maybe they have another agency it's not doing such a great job, but you're like, man, if you fix these 3 things, it's going to really start cranking for you.
Yeah. So, Blake and I, both of us are story brand certified guys. So we take the wording of it very serious, right? So the first thing I would say is the copy just isn't good. There's no way around it. The copy just isn't good. And when I say it's not good, a lot of times people, they really talk about themselves, right? They talk about all the, all of the barbells and rowers and equipment and saunas and all that stuff. Like, all that stuff is great. But at the end of the day, people join a gym to get results, right? That's why they join a gym. So if you're not talking about how you're going to help them achieve their goals, the copy really isn't good, right? So 1 has to be the copy. 2, your image has to speak to the type of people that you're trying to get, right? If your copy is speaking to men and you have women, all of these women in the images, it's just going to be a disconnect, because they're going to see it and say, oh, even if the copy is great, like, oh, they're talking about me. And when you scroll through the ads and you see only women, you're like, is this for men or women? Now there's confusion, right?
And that shows up when they do both genders and they try to be lazy, and then
correct,
all the images are women, women, women. I'm like, you're just blowing your men leads. Like, no one's going to opt in. You got to separate that, right?
Correct. Yep, you do. And I think that's one of the things. A lot of people, so here's the thing. Facebook ads aren't hard to set up you can go on Google and figure out how to set it up. But to become great at it, now that's where the expertise comes, right? And I tell everyone, like at my agency, we spend about $80,000 per month on Facebook ads. We're in there every single day looking at stuff. Facebook is changing the algorithm. So you have to be in tune to all that. So like one of the big things that we tell folks, hey, if you come to us, like we have images, copy and stuff that we know work, because over the last year, look, we spent $1 million on ads. So we know exactly which image is going to work, how the copy is going to work. But when you sort of run them yourself, which this is the way I started running myself, but I can't test on a scale on the same level that a big agency can test, right? It would take, like, if you're spending $1,000 a month on Facebook ads, it takes you 80 times as long to figure out what we figured out in 1 month, right? So I would say the copy is super important. The images have to speak to the type of people you're trying to get. And then also, this isn't really the Facebook ad, but I have to throw this in. The top 3 is lead to speed, man. Like getting in contact with these leads once they come into the system, right? And I know, some people are like, well, I try to get with them, but these people don't respond. Here's the thing. Here's a little baseball analogy. I didn't play baseball, but baseball analogy, if you bat 300, you're going to be a Hall of Famer, right? You're one of the best baseball players out there. from this cold traffic, because it is colder traffic, even though some people will know, like, and trust you because they've seen you, now you're sort of just getting closer to them. But some of these people, they've never heard of you. Like, you could be, I don't care what people think, like, you've been in your town for 10 years, there's still people that have no idea you exist on the other side of town. So for us, we tell people you have to continue to stay in front of folks long term to really get them to come in. And going back to the lead to speed, you need to close about 10% of these clients, right? That's 10% is a sort of a minimum. 20% is sort of that Hall of Fame level, right? More than 20, you're great. So let's just keep the math easy. If you get 100 leads in a month, you're going to get 10 to 20 tops new clients out of that. So that's good. That's solid numbers. Like, even if it's 10 new clients, solid number, but there's 90 people that didn't do anything. And if you get stuck on those, well, all those people I had to follow up with, and yeah, there's 90 people that do anything this month. But as you know, the more you grow your list, the more you follow up with them, the more those folks start coming around long term, right? I can't tell you how many people I had coming to my gym. Oh, I've been on your email list and I see y'all on Facebook for the last 8-9 months. And I just feel like it's a sign I need to come in here. Every time I log on Facebook, I see your ad. So those would be the top 3. The copy, images, and that lead to speed is key.
Yeah. And we're going to get into sales in a sec, but I got to agree. A lot of owners are impatient. I think what I label it as a microwave sale. They're like, I want to put it in, hit 30 seconds, boom, I got a sale. And that is, our numbers see the same thing. 10 to 20% are microwave sales, which means they'll probably buy, and then from day 1 to day 30, they want, like you said, all 100, and that's just not realistic. Then we got the oven top sale. Like, we put the fire on a 1, and it's going to slowly boil the water, and that's your day 60, day 90, 120, maybe even 1 year sales. They still bought. Nobody tracks those. No gym owner tracks people.
No one.
They're just like, I want my microwave sales and I want them now. And I do force them to say, hey, you said, well, this was an old lead. Well, I want you to go into the system and find when they originally opted in, so you can start to see for yourself how long some people take, right? And this is common. They call those microwave sales first adopters. Elon Musk makes something new. People who are giant fans of his are going to buy it the minute it's launched. That's your microwave sales. The other people are going to stay back and watch. And over time, there'll be a late adopter. And then you got laggers who are like slow behind. This is like grandma getting Facebook now, even though it's been around forever, right? And so they go in 3 waves, and your leads are the same way. So if an owner can be long-term minded, see how business is and just how people are, you're not doing anything wrong. We're not doing anything wrong. This is just people being people. Some people are urgent to go. Some are going to need a little bit more convincing, and some won't call you for years. And you can accept that. You're going to live with a lot less stress, right? Than constantly putting this pressure of like, more and more, I need more. It's like, no, you either got to just spend more or you got to be more patient. That's really it, right? So Sherman, let's talk about marketing's best friend, which is sales. I would agree with you. I think speed to lead's probably going to categorize in there. So I'll ask you for 2 more. What are a couple things you guys do to help refine the sales process? Speed to lead's definitely going to be one of them. But now we're talking, now we're communicating. What are some tips you could give to someone to make their sales process better?
Yeah. So, speed to lead, like we talked about. Also, you should be trying to figure out what this potential client's problem is, right? And when you figure out that problem, the only thing you talk about moving forward is how your gym is the solution to their problem, right? I like in-person consults, right? I don't necessarily care for free trials stuff. Like, I think it's too hard to provide value, especially when you're trying to get someone to pay $200, $300, $400 a month. Let them try the class for free. Like, for me, everyone's done workouts, right? Yes, we have different methodologies, but like, everyone's done a workout. So they really don't need a free class. So for me, the sales piece, having them come in and talking to them in a one-on-one format, figuring out what their problem is. And when you figure out that problem, position your gym as the solution to their problem. If you do that, your sales will go up, right? Your sales will go up. So that's a big one for me. Yeah, that's a big one. So leads to speed, getting to them. And then once you get in front of them, making sure you're talking about how you're going to solve their problem, right? And then also, I personally like to figure out what clients have had success and not had success with in the past. And then again, I position my gym sort of as an antithesis of whatever they say, right? Our gym is going to have some of those same qualities, how we're going to help them do those same things that they enjoy. And then also, when I hear them talk about things that they didn't like, I'm just making stuff up. Well, I didn't have any accountability. No one held me accountable. Okay, well, now I'm going to talk about how my gym holds them accountable. The things that we have in place, that won't let them sort of fall through the cracks, right? So, yeah, I believe those are three big ones right there that will help anyone.
And I don't know what you feel about this. So I was going to bring this up. This is like a backup plan that I've done in the past is 2 appointments. So we book one, you no-show, you reschedule. Second one, same thing happens. At that third point, I usually just give my GMs the approval to just Zoom sales them. Because at that point, they're going to be a lot more resistant to the sale because they feel shame and guilt to even show up to right? And there's that psychology side of things. Like, I even bring this up when you have a list of clients who haven't been to the gym in a while. Understand that they're like in a lot of shame and guilt, and it gets to a point where like now they don't ever want to come back because they feel like they left you down. And so, if you don't want people to cancel, you got to hold them accountable to come in. But what happens when they gone 30 days without coming to your gym for a workout? They start to feel that shame and guilt. So same as like no-showing you. They don't like no-showing you. After a couple of them, you got to like reduce the level of shame and guilt they might feel. I'd rather at least see them and be on Zoom. Or in a worst case scenario, we just do a phone consult as a catch-all. Because like after 2, probably a high likelihood they're not going to book a third in person, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
You got to reduce that. So I love those though, because gym owners will tend to, like you said, just list off everything that they're proud that they built, when you really got to listen to the customer and customize your pitch based on the pain they have and the problems that they're suffering from. And I call that like a sniper pitch. Like you listen very intently. Every piece of pain they give you is a bullet you're putting in there. Like no accountability. You don't know what to eat for breakfast. Your time, boom. Then I'm turning around and my pitch is just going to hit those exact things only. I'm not going to barf about the in-body. I'm not going to tell them about the sauna we're installing next week. This has nothing to do with their problems. That makes you a better salesperson when you can customize your pitch and you listen intently. That's why I'm a big fan of taking notes, because like I'm writing down their main pain points so I can turn them around and verbatim use it back to them, right? Now, I don't want to lie. If I don't have the solution to their problem, I'll refer them out. It was like, hey,
correct,
Jones, you said your back is blown out. You got knee surgery next week. Your shoulders are torn up. You need one-on-one. Let me send you my friends down the street. We don't do one-on-one here. And I will refer her out. But they're grateful. And if they got someone, they'll send them back. And so I did a post about this a week or 2 ago about like befriending the gyms in your area and referring out to them. And there's a lot of benefits from that, not only for clients, but even team members. I had coaches apply to work at my gym, and I saw on their resume they worked at another gym in town. So because I was friendly with that gym owner, I called them and I asked them, what'd you think of them? What should I watch out for? And so again, gym owners can get very competitive to the point where you're not collaborating, and there's a lot more benefit in collaboration.
Hey guys, just taking a quick break to ask for one thing. If you can give us a 5-star review, it'd mean the world to me. It helps get me feedback on what you're enjoying about the show and how we're adding value to your business. And it helps us get the word out so we can turn the tide on this war against obesity. So give us a 5-star review and let's get back to the show.
So Sherman, let's kind of take our eye to the future, man. Like, what are things that you guys are excited to have that you might be using or you're looking at, things like AI, any cool, I don't know, special softwares or like ways that you're using AI? And then how could gym owners leverage AI? Is there any advice you're giving them around that as well?
Yeah, so we do some stuff with AI really to just leverage our time. It gives us more, but we don't use it a lot with our copy and stuff like that. We feel like we're a little better than AI when it comes to this, to the copy. But I do think, this isn't AI related, but it's software related. It's 2025, Justin. And every gym should have a CRM, right? If you don't know what a CRM is, look it up. You need the software that allows you to keep up with leads and clients, right? Communicate with them long term. Because again, that's like we talked about. If you have someone that comes in as a lead today, what's today? May 6th. And if this person isn't going to make a buying decision until, let's say, December 6th, right? They're not going to make a buying decision until then because life's going to get in the way. They don't know that. They came into the funnel today. But if we don't stay in contact with them periodically, giving them value periodically over the next 6 or 7 months, we have no shot at them becoming a client, because what's going to happen is they're going to come into your funnel today. You're going to reach out to them 2 or 3 times. And you're going to go radio silent. And in December, when they decide now's the time, they're going to end up on a website or listen to whatever noise pops up on social media first, right? And maybe it's not your gym, it's the gym down the road, and they're running ads, and you say, they say, oh yeah, I remember opting into something a while ago. It was one of these type of gyms. I'm just gonna go this one. I'm just noticing this one. But if you continually communicate with them via your CRM, text messages, email campaigns, that's gonna be providing value, when they get ready in December now, they're going to say, I've been on Sherman's email list for the last 6 months. I get all this high value content. I need to book one of those intros that they've been talking about for the last 6 months. Now they know because I'm sort of conditioning them time after time. I'm not asking for a sale every single time I reach out to them. I'm genuinely giving them value, giving them tips. I could make a purchase. They know that they're going to come to me because I'm their guy now.
Yes. Love that. Well, there you go. I think, again, I agree. All gym owners definitely need a long-term vision and strategy for nurturing leads and staying in front of their customers. And most importantly, not just pitching, adding value. Like you said, like giving tips. If you got internal content, you got form fix videos, if you have an internal podcast, blogs, like anything that just shows that you're authority and you're good at what you do, right? So different gyms at different stages, I'd like to just see if you could give like maybe one tip to help them get from one stage up to the next. And so I know you guys look at gyms in like a few different stages, like under 15K, 15 to 30, and then 30 and above. So let's kind of give at least 1 or 2 tips to each person in that stage. If a gym's stuck at under 15, what do you tend to see their major constraints are that's holding them back?
A lot of times a gym's doing less than 15K, like they're in that beginner stage, right? They probably haven't been around that long, or at least I hope they haven't. Because when you're in that stage, you really need to make sure that you have the systems in place to manage everyone. Most of the time, I'm trying to think, if you have a average client value of say $200 doing 15K, how many members is that? Not a lot, right? So you need to make sure that you can stay in contact with your people, that it's really a relationship business at 15K, right? It's really a relationship business. All of your members, when they are not in class, when they're going on vacation, because you have less than 100 people, right? You have less than 100 people that you're sort of managing. And if I'm being honest, less than 15K, less than 100 people, the owner is going to be doing a lot of the work, right? And that we see often with gyms that honestly, if I'm being honest, they really struggle. They're doing 15K, but they have 8 team members, right? Maybe one that a lot of them coach part-time, 1 or 2 classes here. The owners are just trying to get some of these classes off their plate because it's a lot, but no one's getting really what they need because none of the coaches are fully bought into the system yet, right? So I tell everyone, hey, in the beginning, you're really tired, right? You're gonna have to work. You gotta have to figure this in the sub 15K startup process. I mean, that's how it is with any startup. It's hard. Like I remember coaching, oh my gosh, so many classes, legs hurting at the end of the night, back hurting at the end of the night. But that's what it took. So I would say in the beginning, you got to make sure you have systems in place and you're really ready to hustle and grind to do what it takes to sort of build your brand and get your gym known in your community. As you get to that next stage, sort of that 15 to 30 range, now you can bring on a couple team members, right? Someone to sort of relieve you so that you can do some of the back end stuff that starts accumulating now. Because if you coach all of the classes, well, now who's going to be following up with some of the members? Who's going to make sure that Susie hasn't been here in a week? Who's going to be following up with her? Birthday's coming up. Who's going to keep up with all this small stuff? You have to get off the floor some to basically run the business, right? And also in that 15 to 30 range, we start bringing on team members. Now your mindset sort of goes to, okay, like it's a business. I'm not worried about it folding anymore. How can I grow this thing to 30, 50, 100K per month? So in that range, you definitely have to start looking at options, how you're going to grow this gym to the next level, right? Like how you're going to grow it. And, sort of when we get to that 30K, for us, the 30K is sort of where we know we have, at least a mature business. They figured out some things. So for here, you have to start really customizing some things, and that's why when we work with gyms that are 30,000 or more, because we work with gyms anywhere from 30 to 120,000 a month, like we have to give them some customized stuff because every gym isn't the same once they start hitting certain revenues. Now, I will say no gym is the same, but gyms that are doing 15K, I'm just making that number up, 14K, all of you guys are the same. You're not special. You don't need a special unicorn. People aren't coming to you because you need to focus on how you're growing this business. But once you get to 30K, now you have to really start managing your team, focus on how you're going to develop your staff, how you're going to develop your sales team, how deep is your funnel going to be when you're advertising, because now you're going to be advertising more than likely, more than just your group classes. You'll probably be advertising your personal training, your kids program, your nutrition program. So things become a little bit more complex when you're 30 plus K. But a caveat to all of this, guys, is whether you're doing 0K to 100K, profit is king, right? Because we've got on calls with gyms that are doing 35K, and we're like, okay, it sounds like it may be a good fit. And then we talk to them, and then we figure out that their expenses are 34.5, right? Like, oh, like you have to figure out, like you have to sort of step back and now figure out, okay, what, if anything, do I need to cut to turn this into a profitable business, right? Because I think people are always caught up in numbers. Oh, I want to hit 150 members or 200, 250, 30K, 50K, but the profit matters, right? Because regardless of how big you grow your business, if you don't have profit, like it means nothing, right? That's not a lot you could do. You can't help a lot of people with no profit. Like you just can't.
Yes. Money moves the message. And if you don't got money, you ain't moving your message anywhere.
Correct. I like that. Money moves the message. You're right.
I'm glad that you made those distinct call outs because I think a lot of owners will kind of recognize which one they're in, and they all have different pain points. But yeah, I would definitely say out of control expense really quick could be payroll. Once you picked your rent, like that's it, you're there, and you got to be really choice about that. As a big decision, it's going to be a big rent. And I've seen it go both ways where someone tries to be super cheap and they go get a warehouse space, but they're this crummy part of town that no one with money wants to be caught dead in. And then I've seen people go super bougie retail and their rent's outrageous 10, 15, 20K a month. And it's like, holy crap, how many members you need just to pay your rent? And then right behind that is payroll. And so I've seen owners do a lean team, 3 full-timers, all the way up to 12 to 15 part-timers that people are just tagging in when they get off their 9 to 5. And so again, I'm not saying one way is better than the other, but it's just how much are you putting into payroll and being mindful of that, right? But that's the one that's going to return the most for you. That's something to not skip on, because I've seen owners also say like, hey, my expenses are so high, I can't afford you. And it's like, we're probably the only way you're going to get to the next level. You're tapped out,
correct.
you're coaching,
Correct.
You're not running your own ads, you're not making sales. How do you expect this thing to grow? Basically, you're in maintenance mode. You and your team are just holding on to the clients you already have. There's no resources being deployed into further growth. That's what you're going to get, right? And so I guess, as we wrap up here, just like talking to owners who are stuck about making that investment, the money mindset, the mental blocks, like how do you talk owners into like doing that and taking that leap?
Yeah. So for us, at LASSO, anyone we've ever talked to, they'll just, like, we don't do the whole hard closing. I think the piece of it is I was a gym owner for 13 years, so I know exactly what a gym owner feels like. I don't want to sell them on something that they're unsure of, and then when they do it, if it doesn't hit a grand slam on day 3, they're stressed out or they're mad at us because it's not working fast enough. So for us, we tell people, you need to think about this marketing thing sort of like long term, right? You want to think about consistent growth. You want to make sure your marketing is making you money long term. So I'm not exaggerating, just today we did a sales call and we had someone They, like we like to ask about results and like, okay, like Dustin, like, what do you want from us? Like, what are you thinking? What made you reach out? And the guy was like, well, right now I get about 3 new clients per month. I'm like, okay, good. How many do you want? He's like, I want 20. This is not going to be a good fit for you, right? Like we sort of go full stop right there because we know if their expectation is 20 and they've only been getting 3 for the last 3 years, like this just is not going to be a good fit because we can't guarantee they're going to get 20 new members every month, right? So for us, I tell everyone, a huge testimony for clients that work with us is not necessarily a gym that gets 22 members in a month. Every now and then that'll happen, right? But a huge testimonial for us is someone that starts with us in, say, January, and then the following January or March, right? So we're talking 12 to 18 months later, they've doubled their revenue, right? So maybe they started with us at 16K. 18 months later after working with us, now they're at 32K. They're at 30K. That's a huge testimonial for us, correct? Because it's not going to be this scorched earth method where they're going to have people in every 6 weeks, burning out their coaches, burning out their members, quality goes down. We want that consistent growth month over month that they can handle, right? And when they look back at it, be like, man, we've been with you guys for 18 months and our revenue has doubled. Like, this is great. Now they're not worried about at the end of the 6 weeks, the 25 people that they signed up, they're not worried about losing 26 because they're going to lose pretty much 20 of those. Then they're going to lose 6 or 7 of the current members that are pissed off because now classes are too full. They can't get into class, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, for us, man, that's what I say it is, that consistent growth that you need with this marketing thing. Like this marketing isn't a save your business play, right? At least not for us. Like it's not like if you need something to save your business, the marketing isn't necessarily going to save it, right? Like it can definitely help you, but you have to be thinking long-term about this, like the marketing play. So that's what I tell people, like when we talk to it, they're like, no, I'm not sure about it. Okay, let's talk about it. And even with LASSO, we do what we call an ROI call, right? So we'll get on, we talk about their pricing, we talk about our fees, and we sort of look at, okay, what does the ROI look like in 4, 6, 8, 12 months if you get average results, right? Are you okay with that? Yeah? Okay, well, we can get going. No, like, there's no way that's going to work. I need that to be double that at least. We won't be a good fit for you, right? We don't want to stress you out. We don't want to be stressed out with someone that has these unrealistic expectations. And like Dustin, like I've been in this long enough now as a gym owner and as a marketing agency. People, they'll come to us. They've had their gyms for 7 years, right? And they're at 100 members. So they had 7 years to grow their gym. They've only grown it to 100 members. They'll come to us and say, okay, well, I want to work with you for 6 months and I want to be at 200 members. What? So you've had 7 years to grow this gym and you've only been able to get it up to 100, but you want us to double your gym in 6 months. Like, how's that? Like, no. Like,
And the owner usually doesn't want to do any work. They're like, you guys do everything. And it's like,
yeah.
You got the owner magic, man. You're going to outsell us because you're the local. You're the boots on the ground. You're the heartbeat of the business. So we need to work in tandem here. But you can't outsource the growth of your business. You can't call an agency and then go and binge Netflix while they do all the work. Like you got to be ready to grind too, right? You're calling in allies to come help you, friends, not replacements, to like let the owner kind of go off and be on an endless vacation. So I'm glad that you guys we're the same way, like setting a lot of expectations, because I think that sales process is the starting of the coaching process, right? Like, so it's like, I'm selling you, but yes, I'm also coaching you in this process. And then there's going to be more coaching beyond it. And that's step one right now. These expectations that I'm setting, I'm coaching you, like how to think different, how to think realistically. The same advice you give to your clients, you need to swallow your own pill right now. You'd be mad if they said they want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, but you want 30 members in 30 days.
Correct.
So it's like, what? So, Sherman, this has been awesome, man. If anybody wants to learn about what you're doing at LASSO, where could they follow you, learn more about what you guys are up to?
Yeah, man, we're on all the socials on Facebook. Just Google LASSO, will come up. On Instagram, LASSO. If someone wants to reach out to me personally, easy. It's Sherman, SHERMAN, at lassoframework.com, right? easy. They can just go to lassoframework.com, check out our website, see what we do, look at some testimonies, book a call if that's what they see fit. But yeah, we're not hard to find. We're out there.
Love it. All right, Sherman. Well, thank you, man. I want to say keep doing great work, serving those gym owners that need your help. You guys are good at what you do. Definitely be following you, and I'm excited to see Lasso continue to grow, man. So thanks for being on the show and sharing all this free value with our listeners, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, gym owners, let's face it, you probably don't love digital marketing. You probably don't want to go into Facebook and load the ad up and think of ad copy and creatives and optimize it daily. Well, hand that over to me and my team, because we're geeks about marketing and we want to flood your gym with new members so you can change their life. Let us do what we do best. All right, go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call. Don't bring the credit card. It's not a hard pitch. It's just a conversation to see if we're a good fit. Talk soon.